that game raised or lowered your confidence in the 49ers? Because I think the thing that's kind of ironic is maybe prior to this game and all season, a lot of media members and fans have said, like, we are really confident that when the 49ers are playing a certain way that they're going to win, but we hadn't seen them pull out a win like this, like a gritty back and forth win where they have to fight until the very end and have one of those game-winning drives. So you would think that if they would have pulled that off, which they did, that would maybe raise, like, because now we see that there's more ways they can win. But for some reason, I left that game feeling a little bit less confident. Now, I will say with time has passed. It's Tuesday now. I think maybe some of the like initial frustration has worn off, and I do think a lot of it can be attributed to one, rain, and two, rust. And I anticipate that they'll show up better against the Lions. But yeah, my initial reaction wasn't like, oh, okay, they finally proved they could do the thing that we've been doubting. My initial reaction was like, why the hell was that game so close? Like, when you look at the Ravens game, that made sense to me. Like, coming out slow, D'Amico's a really good coach, has a really good defense. They kind of struggled in that first half, but then they woke up, they got into football shape, not football shape, but they got into the speed of the game after having some time off and pulled away. And I really anticipated a game like that from the 49ers. Did your confidence change after that performance, higher or lower, or do you kind of feel similarly to prior to that game?
Definitely a little bit. Even after like everything's been settled in, only because like, look, I get it. All those factors combined, I still feel like there's no excuse for that. There really isn't. But that also doesn't mean like going into the Lions game, like, okay, like I'm a little less confident, but I'm still like at the point where like, I'm not shook or anything. I'm not rattled. I'm pretty much like, yeah, I think look, there's no way they're going to have that replicated game. I don't think they have it in them, because ultimately I feel like if you have more than just a little less confidence in them, now it's like you're over exaggerating. You pretty much just like, okay, so I guess the whole regular season didn't matter. So that's like kind of like the same thing. Like Purdy had a bad game. And honestly, that was probably like to me, that was only his third bad game of the whole season. 3 bad games versus like a bunch of like good and really good ones doesn't really, that would be revisionist history all of a sudden, right? Just like, oh, this one game, this one bad performance by Purdy. Like, look, that was really his third worst game. And the 49ers is like, as a team, probably the fourth. That doesn't remove everything they've done good to that point.
Okay.
It's just a little bit, I would say the only reason why I have confidence is a little less now is because like, okay, well now I don't feel like they're invulnerable. Because that was what my stance was, is like they're head and shoulders above the rest. Meaning that even if they didn't come out their best,
especially in the NFC, like in the NFC,
still handily win.
Like...
Yeah, so I mean, heck, even the Lions and the Bucks game, like as good as the Lions look against the Bucks, like they weren't necessarily screaming elite to me. I mean, there was facets in that game where it's like, okay, that's going to give the Niners some trouble. But again, ultimately, they should still like not easily win, but they should still win that game. So I'm expecting them fully to win that game going in there. But there definitely are concerns now that I feel like, especially defense-wise, which to me, the key of the game is Lions offense versus 49ers defense. Because we just saw Aaron Jones, like, just they were, as much as like he had a couple of big runs.
The Lions have
the secondary. Ambry Thomas is going to look like that. Like, and if I don't see Travarius Ward shadowing Amon-Ra St. Brown for the whole game, that's malpractice.
Yeah. I think St. Brown is going to be a key factor with Ambry Thomas. What the hell happened? Why in the playoffs did old Ambry Thomas come back? I've been so proud of him. I feel like I've been like his cheerleader. I've been like so excited. I told my friend Lacey, once again, not a huge football person, like when he was sucking, she was like kind of feeling like, why is this guy on the team? And I was like telling her the story of him. And I was like, he like came in his rookie year and then he was out and then he came back and he called his shot and he like did it all right. And I don't know what's happening now.
Jokes. And that's the thing about corners. Like you got to be, we talk about how much I prop up Brock Purdy and your mental toughness, being mentally strong. The second position that needs that is corner, because as soon as you see the ball, especially when you're actually in a position, that right there is like, you have to be like relaxed, calm, control, and know what you're doing. And every time, and he was in a position for one or two of them, and he just simply didn't make a play or didn't do anything.
Yeah. Got a penalty when he literally was in perfect position.
I don't know why he's grabbing. I don't know. I don't get it. Like, I never understand why corners do that. Like, it makes me think, like, what are your drills doing, man? Like, with that, why are you going up high? Like, to me, I was always told, like, by my coaches and stuff like that, and everyone who I know from what I've talked about with coaches with is like, yeah, do the hip check, like put your hand kind of on their hip, kind of like almost like karate style, like just leave it so you get spatial awareness. But this guy just goes up high, is over there hugging them like Barney and stuff, like, come here, friend, let's have a hug. I love, like, come on, what are you doing, Embry? So that one was just outright, he choked. He felt the pressure 1,000%.
Absolutely.
And he's a concern for me going into that game. So that's part of why, like, okay, like,
yeah.
Can he bounce back? Because we haven't seen him like every game since the bye week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's been at a fairly high level. You know, he's been adequate. And it hasn't been a worry with him. We haven't seen him got beat down like that before. Now, can he respond in another playoff game with higher stakes against a better team? That's where my confidence goes less. And now the running defense, which was a question that I had going into last week, like, dude, it's as much as Jordan Love's good, the key to the game is going to be they're going to try to attack them on the ground. And now you got a team who has not one, but two capable backs who are way better than Aaron Jones. All right, now we got some issues.
Yikes. And someone said, I kind of found this interesting. Kyle Shanahan is going to do what he needed to do with the Packers to the Lions. The game plan should be opposite from each other. And I kind of agree because the Lions are much better at stopping the run than they are the pass. Like, if you were going to come out passing, you should pass against the Lions and you should have ran against the Packers. I don't really understand. But I agree that I think a lot of the focus has been, quarterbacks. So a lot of the focus has been on Brock Purdy, but their defense was extremely underwhelming. I think that was a big thing we kind of hyped up with having a bye week is when we looked at earlier in the season, the amount of energy that the football team had coming out of the bye week. They were tackling better. They were hitting with force. The corners were on it. Now, I will say Deommodore Lenoir, I thought, played really well. Charvarius Ward did decently, but 0 sacks for that defensive line when all the money is going to the defensive line is insane. The trade for Chase Young looks terrible. I saw a couple plays where, like, before the ball was snapped, he wasn't even like completely ready. I don't know. I don't understand what's going on with him. Nick Bosa seemed offended when he was asked about his performance in the game. And it's like, dude, they give you like $120 million. What the fuck do you mean? Like, show up.
He's getting where they're getting walled off by. I think that was the thing that was concerning. Him and Chase Young, especially Chase Young. My God, he's literally just a player. He's barely good.
I can't believe just a guy. What happened? And everyone, he was like this in Washington, but everyone assumed that maybe one, he had too much responsibility, and then two, that like he didn't have motivation because he, like, people thought coming to Chris Kosarek, being with Nick Bosa on a championship level team would like inspire him. Because a lot of things seem like effort problems with him. Where like if he doesn't get it on his first try, sometimes he'll just stand and watch instead of like trying to get like going for like a second I don't know, not second tackle,
effort.
But like
I haven't really noticed his effort necessarily. I just feel like that's kind of how he looks because he's not really that great of an explosive player. Like he's very limited. Maybe that's because of his injuries, but it's like he's kind of like a 1 or 2 trick pony with his moves and stuff like that. And run defense, he's not there. I think we also kind of saw a little bit of how much Clelin Ferrell is maybe underappreciated. I remember that Arizona game was really probably the Niners' worst run defense game because they didn't have Eric Armstead, didn't have Javon Hargrave, but now it's like, okay, now you got them back, but Armstead's back like on a snap count and you lost Ferrell. So it's like,
and Gibbs is like, I mean, he's better. Is it maybe not better? He's as good as Christian McCaffrey, but like
okay, relax. Come on. He's good, but he's the most, if the 49ers,
he won them that Tampa Bay game on that last drive.
If the 49ers are going up against McCaffrey, they should be a
little
obviously
more,
he would have to do it and faster, longer. But McCaffrey's just overall just still better. I'm not going to crown him yet, but Jahmyr Gibbs is always, since the very moment I saw him against week 1, against the Chiefs, coincidentally, I told my cousin when I was watching him, I was like, God damn, is that Jamal Charles 2.0? Like, just the way, like, he just looks so fast. He's shifty. He's vision. He pass catches. He's just, that guy's a problem.
Yeah, people are saying the D line is going to be the key to getting pressure on Goff, and I agree because he's not mobile at all. And Jordan Love isn't like, a runner like Lamar, but definitely has some mobility. More
barely.
Kind of similar.
I think it's going to feel a little more felt against them, but it's going to be a little more felt because he doesn't really move, and it's like, can he stand in there? Can you take away his first read? What is he going to do? Is he going to like? I just feel like this is going to be a game where maybe you get them off like some type of like double moves with your receivers, because I wonder and try to see if the corners are going to bite. Which I just think they're going to look at number 20, whoever's number 20 guard, and just throw to him all day. And then Laporta, he can find the holes and such.
Yeah, he needs to be prepared for that. Like, it can't be a spook thing. What happens if he's getting targeted over and over again? Obviously, I think in the offseason, I was reading on your website that you write for, Tom Jensen's article, and he was talking about like questions for the 49ers going into the Lions game, and talking about the secondary, and saying that a big thing, like maybe targeting Patrick Surtain this offseason, which I don't want to talk about the offseason. I'm so not ready for the 49ers to freaking
we still got games
lose.
to talk about.
So not ready. And I'm still going to pick them to win. I just think my confidence is a little bit shaken, where like before I think I was just like, oh, 100%. Now I'm like, oh, they are human.